Today on The Chef's Cut, Joe and I are getting you ready for the final season of The Bear. To see Richie develop over the course of the show, that was like my favorite story arc. We're going to tell you what the show absolutely nails and gets wrong about life in fine dining.
The show addresses like when the thing you do becomes your whole identity.
And I have a bold prediction for Carmy's next move. I think in season 5, Carmy's going to go to private work. Chef's Cut Nation, you know what time it is. We need 10 seconds of your day. Please remember to rate and review wherever you get pods. It really helps us keep this thing going.
All right, Age, we got one for the show today that I feel like is, I know for me, it's like nonstop. I get people hitting me about this, asking questions. Have you watched it? Have you seen it? We're talking about The Bear. Final season's coming out. I feel like being in Chicago, being in restaurants, like I get questions about this show all the time. I'm sure, you being from Chicago, you being in the industry, you get questions about it as well. Yeah. And I know you and I have talked about it a little bit before. You said you hadn't watched it. You hadn't. But you being the professional you are and being a woman and a chef of the people have put in the time and hours to watch this show.
You did too. You put in some time too.
Yeah, to watch this show for our listeners, because that's what we do it for.
Yeah,
that's what we do it for. We do it for them. This isn't about us.
We would have never watched The Bear, but so many people have asked what we think about it, what we like, what we don't like, what they got right, what they got wrong, and especially because the newest season, which is going to be the final season, is getting ready to premiere. So this is like a public service that we're doing, right?
I'm saying. So right off the cut, Age, you finally got into it. Give me your gut reaction. What'd you think? Give me the knee jerk.
Visceral. It was a visceral reaction. Like, when you're sitting at midnight mass and they sing Ave Maria and your eyes well up with tears, you're not going to stop cry, but you're like, the emotion just bubbles up so much that you can barely contain it. That is what it was like watching this damn show. I loved it and I hated it. So it was like PTSD, trauma. It brought back a bunch of shit that I had buried so deep successfully and kept away from like being top of mind. It brought back a lot of shit, but it was also oddly inspiring. Like watching it again and like seeing that push and that drive and that work mode of being like, detail oriented, time, every second counts, every movement matters. Like being back in that feeling, that was like some of the good parts about watching it. There were a lot of bad. There were a lot of bad memories that came back, but
it's pumping a restaurant into your veins, right? It's that dopamine shot. It's the highs, the lows. You know what I mean? We do it for the highs. We are chasing those highs. You know
Constantly.
What I mean? Like, so it's a shot of all of that, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's some really important things that the show gets right in so many ways. Like obviously the culinary aspect of it, but the kitchen culture of it gets right in so many ways. And there's a difference between working in fine dining and casual, and you've done both. I've done both. People have eaten at both. So you see the difference in the type of food when you go to these restaurants, but the way people behave in the kitchen is also different. Like fine dining kitchens are quiet as hell. It's like speak when spoken to. Casual restaurants, there's a little more banter and camaraderie. Fine dining kitchens people are kind of pitted against each other. It's like you're competing with the person next to you instead of always being in cahoots with them.
Right. There's not a lot of
cahooting. They're your friends, but you're still...
There's not a lot of cahooting.
Not a lot of cahooting. You go out for drinks after and kick it, but it's still like, I'm going to kill you today.
Right. And I think it's, I think like part of it is like, I feel like the way they shoot it, like they do such a good job of like everything feels like, and I don't know like the whatever filming terms for this, but it's like everything feels so close. Like you feel like in it, right? Like it was like one of the things I noticed it when I was watching it this time was just like, I felt like in that is like, I feel like gives such a good natural intensity of like what a kitchen is. Because part of the intensity of the kitchen is you are right on top of each other. you
Mm-hmm.
are elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder. Like I've always described, like working a station with somebody, it's like being on a 14-hour road trip with someone where you need to speak to them the whole time. And like the only way the car drives is if you both communicate and you both kind of drive the whole time,
Right.
and it's like,
It's like back
so
in
I
the
think
day when you
like,
had to have printed directions instead of the
yeah,
speaker on your phone telling you. You had to have somebody
yeah.
with like printed directions telling you every turn along the
It's like
way.
those rally car races where they have the
Yeah.
navigator. They're like right turn 30 degrees, left turn 30 degrees. Like that's what like station at a you know what I mean at a high intensity restaurant is. And I
Yeah.
think and I think part of that is like the way they shoot it. Like everything's so close. Like the conversations are all like they're on top of each other and they're in corners and they're this and that. And I feel like
Yep.
they capture that intensity and like the physical, not just like obviously people in restaurants are very close, but it's like you are physically close to each other all the
Right.
time. There is no escaping
Yeah. Everything's
motherfuckers.
hot, everything's sharp, and you're in very close proximity. It's like
Right.
it can go down at any fucking moment.
You said you felt like there's some stuff that they nailed that you really
Yeah.
liked. So throw one at me, I'll throw one at you. Let's
Okay.
ping the pong a little.
Number one, the dishwasher being the most interesting person in the restaurant. They've got stories. They
Without a
have
doubt.
lived like 25 lives. Like, I can't remember if it was season one or two, but one of the guys was like, wait, you played for the Cubs? When the dishwasher told a story about being in the farm
Mm-hmm.
league, and he was like, wait, you played for the it's like, who are you? It's like every time you talk to your dishwasher, you hear a new life experience that they had, and it's like that person is the most interesting person in the room, if you ask me. Like, chefs are a little more linear and
Dude,
straightforward in their life and career path.
we all have that person. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Restaurant
100%.
people are
Okay.
interesting in general. Dishwashers, man. Ron
Yeah.
Johnson was my guy there. You know what I mean? It was like homies with like Wu-Tang and Common and just like Kung Fu Master and like all this stuff. And it was just like craziness.
I love it. Okay, so what's one of yours that they nailed, that they got right?
I would say like the thing, one of the like, you know what I mean? The things they really got right. I think it's in the first season and it's I think 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝘀 plays like the fine dining chef, which is like hilarious.
Oh, in
The
his
guy
ear?
from like Community.
Yeah, yeah. Plays like that
In his ear. And
asshole. Yeah.
and like, man, I worked for that chef. You know what I mean? I remember when my older
Uh-huh.
sister watched that, she's like, was it really like that? I was like, dude, I
Yes,
was like,
people ask
the
me that
whole like
too.
when I worked at the
A
university
hundred
club,
percent.
I worked for an old school chef, and he was the king of like, it wasn't screaming, but it was just like he would get up on you
Mm,
like that and be
yeah,
like, is this like just destroy you? Just like,
yeah.
is this what you're doing? You think this is good enough? You
And
think this is good enough to be
that's
here?
right.
And just like throw all your me's into the garbage and tell you to start over. And you're just like, bro, like, or he would do stuff where he'd be like, I'd be like doing something, I'd do a bad job, and he would like stand next to me, like shit on me for it, and then he would bring someone else over to do it, and just make me stand there and watch that
Oh
person do it, and
God,
explain to me why
yes.
they were so much better.
Uh-huh.
And like,
Yep.
it wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. That other person was
Was better,
significantly
right?
more masterful at that craft than I was.
Right. Because they'd
You know what I
probably done
mean?
it
But it was like,
before.
it was
Yeah.
brutal. It was
Yeah.
brutal.
I've worked for chefs
But he'd
like
done it
that
a
too.
trillion
And
times. You know what I mean? And
it
I
was
was some
crazy because
23-year-old
like
kid.
I could take somebody yelling at me, like, you fucked this up. This is overcooked. This is undercooked. This garnish isn't right. This gel is too loose. This sauce doesn't taste like. I can deal with that. But it was like the quiet and the personal that like digs deep. Like, you can scream in my face all day and tell me, do you not know how to make hot food hot? Do you not know how to serve seasoned tartare? Do you not know how to taste? It's like, scream at me and I can filter out the
Mm-hmm.
screaming and I can take the lesson. It's like, oh, okay, in that minute and a half of screaming, what I did wrong, what chef is saying is that it needs more salt. Okay, cool. Or this sauce needed a little more slurry to be a little thicker. Got it. But
Right.
when they get quiet and they
Right.
get personal, it's
Yeah.
like,
I grew up in a
you
yelling
suck, your
family. I
mother
could do
sucks.
I could deal with the yelling.
Yeah. But I can't deal with
Mm-hmm.
the
It's
personal
like
was what hurt.
that was the stuff like I felt like that stuff was really relatable. The scenes where they're just like, and for me, I think also it's like one, like his cousin's Chicago accent is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. But I will say the relationship with the cousin hit so hard home for me of like being the one in the family who's like working at all these fancy restaurants and all my cousins being like, oh, you fucking, this guy out there doing all this cute little
Right.
food, can't make a beef, can't make regular food. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I can make regular food. Like, they're like, there's no way you can't make an Italian beef. And that was
Right,
like a
right.
long running feud joke in my family for a long time. And I was like, it's like they wrote this first season to troll me. Like my cousins had, producer credits. I would not be surprised. But like that
Yeah.
relationship to me was like, I was like, this is the truth of like growing up in like a normal family. And then
Hmm.
you go do this weird cooking thing where you're working at super fancy restaurants. And they're like, oh, look at you, huh? Yeah, Joe Boy, fancy guy now, huh? And you're like,
Right.
I'm just cooking, guys. Like,
The shit
like,
talking on both sides,
but
the
but
family
that
side
hit.
and the restaurant side, was spot on. Like the shit talking in any work environment. I
Yeah.
don't care if you work in an office or a restaurant, but the amount of like you go to like your work friends, and you're like, can you believe what they just did? Or did you see that? Or did you read that email? It's like like the shit talking, but you love them.
Hmm.
That's your people. But it's like you still have to like vent your frustration. You can't let that go without addressing it with your coworkers. So there's like all those little like click
Yeah,
gossip, and then you all come together.
I was working the line last night. I was on grill, and it was like, and I was talking a bunch of shit because I was telling like one of my cooks. I was like, the whole reason I want to work line with you guys is just to come talk shit and chop it up because it's the most fun thing you can do is hang out with a bunch of cooks like talking crazy shit. Like, and it's
Yeah.
not like just like having the most fun. Like that's the
Hmm.
best part of it. It's just like
Yeah.
hanging out, shit talking, like while you like pound out food.
Okay, so I want to know, Joe, what are some of the things that, because don't get me wrong, I actually enjoyed the show more than I thought I would. But what are some of the things, like some of it was hate watching for me. So what are some of the things that to you they absolutely got wrong on the show?
Right. So I think it's like there was a really good they got it right and really good got it wrong all in one episode for me. Where it's
Uh
like they're at his apartment and he's just got like a stack of cookbooks next to his bed and there's like nothing in the apartment. And I was like, I watched that one with Hillary and she was like, oh my God, it's your apartment on Kedzie. But then he has like thousands of dollars worth of denim. And I'm like, what? No,
oh
nobody has
no, he would
expensive
have
denim.
thousands
Like,
of dollars worth of knives.
right. I was like, I had 2 pairs of pants till like 5 years ago. Like,
Yes.
I had to win Top Chef to own multiple pants. Like you can't just you're
Oh,
just not
that's what you
out
did with your
here.
winning money. That's what you did with your
Yeah, I
prize
bought
money.
pants. I bought like 4 pairs of pants. But like that one, and then the other one that drove me the most insane, and it's a little like weird one, and it's like, the money in the tomato can thing. And it's one thing of like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
like one, you're hiding money in tomato cans, which is just
Yeah,
like
not
that first and foremost. Anyone Anyone who's anyone knows, one, that would never happen. It's so hard to reseal
no.
cans, and we could get into all that
Yeah.
thing. That's my number one problem with
That's
it.
some
First of
cartel
all,
shit right
in
there.
the
I think
city,
they need to tell us
yes,
that Mike was like a drug dealer, because how do you do that?
yeah,
How do you even do that?
in the city of Chicago, everyone knows all cash is hidden in drop ceilings.
Uh,
Everything is hidden in a drop ceiling. We are, you know what I mean? We have basements. It's all drop
why do you
ceilings.
think
You know what I mean?
drop
You go
ceilings
into an old
exist?
house. You go to an old house on the south side, and you pop into the drop ceiling. You're gonna find some cash and maybe an old handgun. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's
Right.
a drop ceiling activity. That is not a canned activity. Also,
Yep.
the bigger thing that drives me nuts about that. In what restaurant on God's green earth are you ordering a retail size can of tomatoes? Also, like
To hide
super
the money
artisanal.
in.
Those
To
those
hide the
those are
money in.
the
Yeah, San Marzano, those small cans that you can like buy at the
the
grocery store.
the
No
the
restaurant does
they
that.
they use the Bianco di Napoli like the grocery store cans, which is I use Bianco di Napoli at my restaurants because they're super nice, but we buy the 10 cans, the number 10 cans, the big ass
Right.
cans, because you would
Yeah.
open a trillion cans of tomatoes a day. No one would
Those
ever do it.
cans are like
That
this
would be
big.
the that would be the first thing I noticed when I walked into that restaurant day one. I'd be like, who
But
the
Carmy
fuck
did
ordered
call
these
that out.
tomatoes?
He did call that out. He said, why is he ordering these small cans instead of the number 10, which are the big cans? It's like bigger than my head.
Right.
I was glad at least they did address that, because it was kind of like the elephant in the room for people who work in restaurants. But there were a couple things that I think they got wrong. In a little bit of a way. Okay, so one, yes, pastry does their own thing. Pastry is their own world. But in the first couple seasons, it really seemed like Marcus, the pastry chef, was just like just over there, just floating along, doing his own thing. Nobody's checking in on him. Nobody like he's bringing people stuff to taste, and he's developing, and he's growing, and he's motivated. But there, it was like the whole episode, you just see him doing this, not like it was weird. It was just like too much of a disconnect for me. And maybe they wanted to play that up because in restaurants there is a disconnect, but it seemed like more of a disconnect. It's like the PR department and the accounting department, but it's really like PR and marketing where they should be a little bit closer. So I thought that was weird. And then the scene where Sydney cooked Chilean sea bass at home. I don't know any chef who really likes Chilean sea bass. I'm sorry. I thought that I call bullshit on that. I do
No.
not know a single chef who likes Chilean sea bass enough to cook it at home. I mean, we're talking Patagonian toothfish.
Also, this shit's
the biggest glow
like
up besides kale.
$31 a pound. $31 a pound at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you bought a $31 piece of fish to cook at home,
Which for
on your day
what
off.
used to be a trash fish that had a glow up like kale. Kale and Chilean sea bass had two of the biggest glow ups in culinary history. I mean, nobody wanted them. Disgusting, cheap. Now it's like, nah. I call bullshit on that. Sorry. One of the things that I think gets lost in the nuance when the whole thing was going on with Rene Redzepi, people are like, what do you expect when you have high standards and when you're under the pressure of gaining and retaining Michelin stars? But I think that something that people miss is you can take that pressure and not react that way. Yes, you're stressed and all your senses are heightened, but does that make it okay to lash out? And I think that's something that they absolutely got right, is showing that behavior is not okay. Because if we had seen the bear 20 years ago, it'd be like, yeah, that's just how it is. But now, in the context of today's society, you're like, oh, no, yeah, it does look bad when you see it. When you're experiencing it, it's totally fine. But then when you see it reflected back at you, you're like, ooh, that's not okay.
And I think that's kind of the point, right? Like, I think people are like, oh, they're like glorifying it. And I'm like, I don't think they are. I think they're glorifying it the same way as like when you watch like one of those old like mobster, like gangster movies, you know what I mean? Where it's like they're glorifying the lifestyle, but then what happens in the end? It's all like good and well until like,
prison,
you know what I mean?
Or death.
Right. Somebody's dead in a cornfield. I think that's kind of the point. Is like where I've come around to on this is like that they're trying to show is like that it's not the way and it doesn't work. And just because it's what it was doesn't mean it's what it should be. Like that's kind of more of like where I think it like gets it right, where it shows that like, hey, like just because this is what it was, the screaming, yelling craziness, it's like that doesn't get you where you need to be. That doesn't like it'll cauterize your team for a while, but it won't give you longevity. It won't give you sustained growth. It doesn't give you a sustained restaurant. You know what I mean? You're thinking about walking away. You're thinking about all these things.
Yeah.
So I think that is a really, really good point it makes, whether it means to or not. And maybe that's just my weird Joe take of it, but that's how I kind of feel.
I think it's weird. So I had this chef that I worked for who would scream at you for any little mistake you made. Anything. You breathe too loudly. You look like you're coming down with a cold. Like whatever it is, you're too bald, baldy. You're too short, shorty. Like anything. Like he would just tear you up. But if you did something right, never a compliment, never a positive word of encouragement, and it made you want it more. And so once in a while, because he'd give you a little nugget of a compliment here, they're like, you didn't fuck it up this time. You know, and it's like, oh, well, if I didn't fuck it up, maybe next time it'll be good. You know, so it's like that Stockholm syndrome in a way where like I had a coworker at 𝘁𝗵𝗀 who is named Aaron. He's down in Atlanta now with Ron. They've got a restaurant called Lazy Betty. And one day the chef who ran 𝘁𝗵𝗀 for like 30 years, a guy named Chris, tearing everybody up left and right. And people kept coming to him for approval on things. And you could see everybody was so eager to bring him out of this bad mood. Everybody wanted to be the one that he complimented. And Aaron just in the middle of the line one day was like, Daddy's never going to love you. We all fell out laughing because that's the feeling. It's like you want that approval. And he said, if I don't say anything, that is a compliment.
Right. And I mean, and that was the way, and I worked
But is
for
that
chefs
okay?
like
Like,
that. And I don't know if it's okay, whatever. And that was like the way they learned to get results, right? They worked at the highest level and that's what they thought. They pit people
yeah.
against each other. You know what I mean? They tell you, I worked for a chef who, if it was the other sous chef's day off, he'd be like, oh, he says you're really lazy. You don't get anything done when you're here, and that things are a mess when he comes in, and, he's carrying all the water. And then he'd say the same thing that I was saying the same thing about him on, his day off. He'd be like, "Oh, Joe says you don't do anything, that, it's all Joe all the
Mm.
time, that he's really leading this kitchen. It was me and the other sous chef." And like the other sous chef would
Uh,
kind of fall for it. He was more of that fine dining world, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, Joe's like saying this stuff about me." But like I knew there was just no way, because it was like this guy had come in late. The cooks were all my cooks that I hired. I was
yeah.
like, "There's no way this dude is talking shit." Like, you know what I mean? I would hear about it all the time from all these cooks. Like,
Right.
these are all my homies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just no way. And so, like, him and I would get in huge fights about it. But that was like
Yeah.
how he came up. He was pitted against the sous chefs next to him, and he felt like that made him better because he wanted to show that he was the best sous chef. But I think it's the question, that I came back to with it was like, me being the best sous chef isn't being just better than the person next to me. Me being the best sous chef is working on being the best sous chef,
Mm.
not in this kitchen, but being the best at my job for doing this job, no matter where I am. So it's like that's a completely different conversation other than just trying to be a little bit better than the person next to me. And it's something I talk about with my cooks all the time. Like they'll get like when
Mhm.
they start getting like that, I'm like, your competition is not next to you. It is on this street. It is in
Mhm.
buildings.
It's
Like
with
you
yourself.
right. It's with
Yeah.
yourself. And it's like, it's like you think like, oh, okay, cool. You're the best cook on this slide. It's like you need to be, like you're trying to be the best chef on this street. Like being the best cook on this line is like a
Mhm.
step of 1,000 that you have to take to get where you want to go. But it's like if you can figure out how to be, the best cook for the rest of these cooks on this line, be the most supportive, the one who gets everybody around them, the one they want to follow, the one they go to with questions. It's like that's a way different breed.
Before we get to season 4 and the way the show left off before the final season comes out, I do wanna talk a little bit about Richie.
Cousin.
He is, to me, that is the exemplar of the type of person. It's not that you had a chaotic home or all this, but the type of people who are in the restaurant industry. A lot of times, like, I can't tell you how many cooks I've talked to who got bad grades. They were dyslexic and they never got encouragement, they never got compliments, they got bad grades. They're tactile learners, not book reading learners, and never were necessarily the parents' favorite, or society was like, oh, he's a good kid or she's a good kid. They felt like they had potential. They just couldn't figure out how or where they could be successful. And then they make their way to a restaurant and it gives you a purpose. You know that you can make people feel good. You know that you can do something. And to see Richie develop over the course of the show, to me, that was like, I mean, that was like my favorite story arc. The Richie character and that arc of story to me really, really hits the nail on the head about why people are so drawn to this and why we love doing it.
Well, I mean, how many people do we both know where it's like, have said to us, for people we've had on the pod, from, chefs to restaurateurs, so many people, it was like, it was the first place where they found and they were like, "Oh, this makes sense." Like they found that place, right? You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I know for me it was for sure. And I think it's like it's a simple idea of what you did before there doesn't really matter. And like of the line, the restaurant is a great equalizer and it's hard work over everything. And you either like, if you do your job well, nothing
Hmm.
else really matters. Nothing of what you did last night, nothing of what you did
Yep.
before you got there, of like who you were. Like if you come in and you bust
Hmm.
ass and you kick ass, whether you're, you know what I mean, busting tables, washing dishes, working the light, whatever. If you bust ass, like people are like, dude, you're the man. You're the best. Like, "Oh, Age is here?
Right. Right.
Sick." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she's gonna crush. Like, and that
Right.
feeling of, like, of validation, of, like, feeling part of a team, of feeling like, it
Yeah.
was like feeling like, "Oh, there's
I'm
something I'm
good at
good at.
something and
I'm good at
people like
something."
working with me.
And it's not something where it's like, I have to get, like, crazy skilled at right away. I just have to work hard. And, like, the thing is, like, if I'm just willing to
Yeah.
grind and push, like, I can be good. And I think it was the first thing
Yeah.
in my life
Yeah.
that I
Tina,
realized,
Richie, I love that.
yeah, that it was like, if I just grind at this, I can get good at this. And it's motivated me for every other aspect of my life of like, hey, like you were really bad at this once upon a time and you just worked really hard at it all the time and you got better at it. And it's like, I think that is the most relatable character of the show in that regard.
Yeah, I love that. And the last episode of season 4, where Sydney said, that she wanted Richie to be a partner. To me, that was touching. And to see him like tear, like I was crying along with him. I was just like, oh my, I wasn't like tears running down my face, but I couldn't see straight.
Mhm.
I was a little blurry eyed. Let's get into a little bit about what we think is going to happen in season 5, because season 4, I didn't see it coming that Carmy was going to relinquish his ownership stake in the restaurant and step away. That to me was like, ooh, ooh, it's now shit's getting real, because this is what a lot of chefs in our industry are dealing with. And a lot of people in general, you do something for so long, whether you're a lawyer, you're a TV producer, whatever it is, you dedicate your life to this thing. It kind of defines who you are. It's more than a job, it's a lifestyle. And you're like, but am I happy?
Mhm.
Is it giving back to me as much as I've given to it? And I thought that was like, ooh, okay, now shit's about to get real in season 5. And Joseph, I have a bold prediction about Carmy
You think he's gonna go be a sales rep?
for Cisco.
Yeah. That would be the best. That would be the
Um,
most like true
I
line through
That would be
of
awesome.
like, it's like, he's just like, he gets super fat and like, it's like walking around. It's like, yeah, I used to cook, you know what I mean? Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get what you guys are going through right now.
I can get you good prices.
Yeah,
Right, right.
don't listen to them.
I know what you need,
This
chef. I
fish
got
is
you.
this fish is the best fish.
Oh, so spot on. Either that is a real possibility. You're right. But okay, I think in season 5, Carmy's going to go to private work. I think Carmy's going to become a private chef.
Wow. You think this is the moment of
I
private
mean,
chefs right now where we're just, you know what I mean? Have you been recruiting them? Have you been making the push for this?
it's such a huge part of our industry now. Like, so many chefs left restaurants during COVID and
Mhm.
went private. And some did start going back to restaurants. Don't get me wrong, but the salary increases, the work-life balance, benefits, it is very different. You get
Mhm.
to get back to the love of cooking and creating without some of that outside pressure. You do have to kind of get to know yourself again. It is like it's a kick in the gut for a bit. Like, you have to figure out your motivation again. I didn't see myself doing private work. And at first I was like, oh, I'm going back to restaurants in 1 year. I'm going back to restaurants in 2 years. It's been a few years now and I'm still in it. But it's so gratifying in ways that I didn't see coming. And I think if you really want to heal Carmy, I think that's what's going to do it.
Well, that's a
I have
really
not healed
good
my
take.
trauma, but he might heal
Yeah.
his.
I think that's a really good take, but I think it speaks to the bigger point of, like the show addresses, like when, the thing you do becomes your whole identity. And it's really hard for it not to. And it's like, I try to balance it where it's like, I know for me, where it's like, I want my whole identity to just be like, oh, I'm a chef. Everything's a chef. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the whole
Right.
identity. Like, I'm a person outside of that. You know what I mean? I'm a son. I'm a father. You know what I mean? I'm all, I'm a husband. I'm all these things. And like, it's just, if you get so caught
Mhm.
in like, this is who you are, it's like, it's what I do. It's what I love. It's what I'm super passionate about. It's what I think about all the time. But, like, I think it's important, like, if you
Mhm.
get too lost in that sauce, you forget about, like, hey, there's a whole bunch of life going on. That's pretty awesome. And it's like, do I have the best balance?
Yeah.
I won't say that. I don't think anyone would believe me if I did. But
Do you
you know what I
have
mean?
any balance?
I
Like,
mean,
I think you do. You make a strong effort to have that balance.
yeah, I make
I
effort,
respect
you know what I
that.
mean? I try to be, like, as cheesy as like, bro podcasty as this gonna fucking sound, but, like, fucking intentional with my time and shit. Um, but I think, like, the interesting idea of, like, him looking at walking away, I think is, like, that one is one, you and I have seen in friends and mentors and people where it's like you see them climb to what
Mm,
everyone on the outside considers the pinnacle, right? From
right.
awards to acknowledgments to respective peers in industry. But like if they're not getting validation from it, if they're not filling their cup with it, so to speak, like it just is like, and you see it in, and I've seen very good friends go through it where I'm like, like
Yeah.
what's going to be the next thing that's going to make you feel fulfilled? What's going to make that next thing, and they're constantly
Yeah.
chasing it. And it's like, and if you don't recalibrate it every once in a while and be like, okay, like what am I doing that I really like? What am I doing that I don't like? Where do I want to put more time and energy? What do I need to let go of? Right. And I think like that is a massive challenge. And I think
Yeah.
for all people and all things, but I feel like as chefs, like, I know I've just watched so many friends go through and so many, people I worked for,
Yeah.
people
I saw my
who
mom go through it too.
sure.
She was in restaurants my whole childhood, but she was struggling for a while with what do I do? I give so much of myself, my time, my energy to this restaurant when I have a family. She comes from
Mhm.
a massive family and had two kids and a husband. And she's like, how do I do all this? And it's not giving me back anything. It's barely even paying me enough. So she wound up leaving. So, good for her. That was like a success story. And it never registered at the time. Like, you can leave restaurants. To me, I felt like once you're in it, what else am I qualified to do?
I mean, I constantly tell people like, I'm like, this is not the only path. My path does not have to be your path. This is just the one I'm on and I love and I want to do. Like, I love this shit. But if you don't, that's fine. Like, you know what I mean?
Figures.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's one of those things. It's like some days I wish I didn't. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's an old Jenny
Yeah.
Lewis song. It's like, she's like, you are what you love, not what loves you back. And that is, you know what I mean? Like restaurants don't
Oh,
love
I
you
like that.
back sometimes. And it's like, and that's the pain
Yeah.
of it. But it's like, I can't stop loving them.
So, do you have any predictions about season 5, Joe?
I mean, besides my sales rep one, no, I feel like I have no idea where this goes from here. And it's like I always feel like a final season is such a double-edged sword because it's like so many shows I've loved, just like in the final season,
Mm.
just absolutely implode on themselves, and you're just like, you just couldn't figure out how to wrap it up, huh? Either they try to wrap it up too
I'm
nice or
so
they wrap it
scared of
up
that,
too
but
messy.
they've done so
You know,
well.
I don't know, like, if he's gonna fly
Mm.
a dragon into, Green Bay and destroy it, like, I'm not sure, like, so, um,
That would be amazing.
that would be sick,
Just
I would be
burn
super
down the
pumped for that.
Packers
Right, you
stadium.
know what I mean?
But yeah.
Like, so, you know, I guess we'll have to wait and
And then
see.
go get the Vikings stadium after.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a phenomenal prediction, Joe. Well, I think it's time we take it to the walk-in, and I think I'm up this week.
I believe you are.
Are you ready for a little confession?
Gimme the tea, it's hot outside, pour it up hot in here.
Okay, so it's not a work-related accident. It's actually related to the bear, which I almost I was this close to being like really fucking cool. I was this close to being really cool. Years ago, not long after we filmed Top Chef, but I don't even think if it had aired yet, or maybe the season had just aired and ended. But around that time, a woman from a culinary school in California called me and said, "Hey, we have an actor who's training for a role in a restaurant show, and she's a Black woman. We'd love to put her with somebody to work with. Come out here and do some work training her in the kitchen and talking her through your experiences and what the mindset is, how you felt being in fine dining, the pressure of it. Did you fit in? Did you not fit in? Just tell it all." I was like,
Mhm.
okay, like as we're cooking, like, okay, cool. That would be interesting. Like, I'd be up for it. I would have gone out there for like 1 or 2 months. And she's like, great. I'm going to put your name in. Didn't say, couldn't say what the show was, couldn't say the names of the
Mhm.
actors or producers, but it didn't work out. They went with another chef who I think was
Mm.
local to California and who had a restaurant at the time. And so I was this close to having been the one to work with the main character, 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝘀, who plays Sydney. So I could have been like so fucking cool if I
Man.
had gotten that job.
Man. What could have been, huh?
Oh, I could have been so cool. Oh my God.
Hey, that's all right. You're still
That would
pretty
have been
cool.
awesome. Oh
you're
my God. I would have loved that.
you're sitting in France right now, so
Oh,
I
thank
think you know what I mean. You've made some decent choices.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Well, Joe, I think that's it for this week. I can't wait till season 5 comes out because I never thought I would watch The Bear, but now I actually want to see what happens with all these characters.
Let's go. Season 5, the season of the sales rep.
That is it for this episode of The Chef's Cut. Head to the comments to share your predictions for the final season of The Bear, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. For Joe Flamm, I'm Adrienne 𝘁𝗵𝗀, and this has been The Chef's Cut, Life Beyond the Pass.